好多陣，電視未得。
Friends of the media, welcome. This is the last press briefing for the year 2022. I'm going to bring you up to date on the work of the IPCC for 2021-2022. We have dealt with 1,705 reportable complaints, a rise of 22.7%. The SG, Daniel, will be going into further detail about the specific numbers. One point worthy of note is well over 90% of the allegation 2476 have to do with neglect of duty and misconduct or impoliteness, and they are of minor nature. And the IPCC is of the view that the resources should be devoted to cases of a more serious nature that require more in-depth investigation. This is to facilitate the better use of resources and to deal with some more important areas. So we have been reviewing the complaints mechanism with the police to see how we can enhance the handling of the minor cases, and this will enhance the efficiency of the system and to put the public resources to better use. At the joint meeting, the police shared with us the work in relation to these minor complaint cases. The cooperation of the complainant is very important. Now, for the not pursuable cases and withdrawn cases, they take up 55% of the total. One of the reasons is that some of the complainants disappeared after lodging the complaints. The efforts were made to pursue them, but to no avail. We have to reiterate that lodging a complaint is a solemn matter. The complainant has the obligation to make available the contact details and cooperate with the capo investigation. And this is the duty that the members of the public should bear while they have the right to lodge complaints. The police would be investigating on the basis of facts and evidence in dealing with the complaints to make sure that the investigation will be handled in a fair and just manner. The IPCC, in the course of the complaints or investigation, will look at the causes of complaints and to identify areas that are inadequate in terms of procedures in order to improve the system and make practicable recommendations, SQII, service quality improvement initiatives, in order to help the police improve their quality of service and to minimize the number of complaints. In our annual report, on the cover, we have this Newton's cradle. This goes to show that the Newton's cradle is knocking on the other sphere, and this knock-on effect will spearhead the enhancement measures. And these SQIIs are, in fact, a part of this knock-on effect in order to build mutual trust. In the past year, there were 24 items of SQIIs, and over the past decade, a total of 200 SQIIs have been put forward, and much of them have to do with the day-to-day life of the public, like traffic offense, stop and search, and also the public inquiries and so on. As the recommendations are increasing, we've seen the number of cases of complaints declining. This has to do with the consistent improvement of the quality of service on the part of the police, and they are correlated. In relation to the SQIIs, over the past year, we've visited the 999 Command Center, Altao Kok Police Station, the NT PTU headquarters. Last month, we visited the West Kowloon Traffic headquarters and got in touch with the frontline officers in different formations and to learn about the challenges and the work that they have been undertaking. The IPCC is pleased to see that the police up and down the force have been very committed to taking forward the SQIIs, and they have the committee formed to formulate the policy, and the frontline staff, frontline officers have been given training, and they deploy technology to help enforcement and also to enhance the procedures and the rules and regulations in order to enhance the quality of service. I hand you now to Mr. Daniel Moy, Secretary General, who will be taking you through the salient points of the annual report, and Mr. Clement Chen, Chairman of the PCC, the Publicity and Community Relations Committee, who will be taking you through other areas. And I'd like to wish you a Happy New Year. Thank you. Thanks very much, Madam Chair. I'm going to share with you the annual report and some of the important numbers. In 21-22, we have received 1590 reportable complaints, up by 16.7% on last year, and 1,005 cases have been endorsed, up by 22.7% on last year. Of these 1,705 cases, the number of allegations involved 2,747, up by 18.9% on last year. And for the allegations endorsed, the number stands at 2,747. 90% of the allegations are of a minor nature, and they include misconduct, impoliteness, offensive language. They take up 47%, or well over 47%. For NOD, neglect of duty, 1,109 cases, they take up 42.6%. And altogether, they take up 90%, and 90% of them are of minor nature. For serious ones, they are assault, UUOA, fabrication of evidence, and threat. They take up about 10% or thereabout. Compared with last year, the percentage is actually lower. Now, for last year was 14% for the serious cases. Now, we've seen a drop in the percentage in terms of actual numbers. This year, for serious cases, 267. Last year was 327. For the minor allegations, 2476. So it reflects the fact that the allegations are actually of a minor nature. As I said at the meeting, by comparison with the time when I first took office, the number of cases has substantially declined. The seriousness is also much lower than when I first joined. It goes to show that the quality of service to the police has increased. For the endorsed allegations, after thorough investigation, there are 881 allegations, up by 25% on last year. Allegations that did not require full investigation, 1,866, and they are withdrawn cases, not pursuable cases, as the chair alluded to a moment ago. Now, for withdrawn and not pursuable cases, they take up a pretty large proportion. And we also have the IR, informal resolution, in dealing with the complaints, and they don't take up a large proportion. The total is 2,747. So the three numbers are actually higher than last year. Now, for investigation results endorsed, substantiated, and the number stands at 83, substantiated rather than reported, 44, not fully substantiated, 6. So to a certain extent, the total stands at 133, unsubstantiated 289, a no fault 397, false 62.
So you can see that compared to last year, for false and unsubstantiated, that are significantly higher. So, and I will explain further where this comes from. As I just mentioned, among the 133 proven substantiated constitute like 95 neglect of duty and misconduct in proper manner 30, and they are minor allegations. And for the serious ones, that include the 3 assault, 3 unnecessary use of authority, and 2 fabrication of evidence. And you may find it quite surprising that we have assault. And then these 3 allegations comes from the 2 cases. One is the 2 police officer beat one arrested person, and then the other one was from a case where a police officer beat up the person in their FOO. And of the false allegation, most of them comes from cases like 48 are under examination, and then the complainant alleged that the police beats them, or that they fabricate evidence, or that they were led to admit committing certain activity. And then this are being passed as judgments that they are the false. And then the other cases indicates that the complainant made the false complaints. One case in point is that the complainant said that while he was escorted back to the house for the house search, and the police officer opened the refrigerator and got the drink. And then he said the police did that while they were in the house of the complainant. But we find that actually the police identified was not there, was not present. So it is not possible that the police got the drink from the refrigerator. And then he also complained that the police did not take report after he was being escorted back to the police station. And we find that, well, in fact, that they already got that report while he was in the police office station. So that was proven false. The other case is in Wang Daixin Park. And then there is a group of people who are playing poker cards there. And then the complainant said that, well, the police beat him up while he was arrested. And then the police also made some, well, indecent gesture. But after going through the CCTV, we found that the police officer have done nothing of those alleged activities or actions, like the beat that complainants, nor that indecent gesture, etc. And then with that as reference, we ask the complainant where and why did he make those allegations. And he, after reviewing the CCTV, he declined all those allegations. So 48 of those cases are proven wrong after the hearing in the court, and then we have evidence proving that the allegations were false. So as I said, investigations results endorsed it. Well, 705 were withdrawn, and then not pursuable is amounts to 826, like 8.1%. And not pursuable include two types of cases. One is we cannot identify the police being alleged at committing certain indecent activities. And the second category is that they disappear, the complainant. So of this 826, 93% were cases where the complainants disappeared. So that PCC chair, Mr. Chan, and Madam Chair all agree that complaints is a very serious matter. So please do not abuse the system. And please identify yourself, your contact, and then also facts, so that IPCC could be able to do the investigation. We want to do it fairly, so that we can do the investigation in a more thorough, and then have that complaints endorsed and proven. So that I would like to appeal to the public again for the things that I just mentioned. For those proven or endorsed allegation, that disciplinary actions has been taken, and then 7 are facing have faced the criminal proceedings. 2 faces a disciplinary review. 3 received 34 received warnings, and advise the majority, and that stands at 96. And the number of officers in total is 139. Why is there such a significant number of advices? It's because when we look at the complaints, the couple, when they look at those complaints, it was discovered that many of them forget to note the facts down in their notebook, and therefore, well, during the process, we identified those problems, and then advices were given to the officers concerned. In the past year, 1,284 queries were made, and there is a decrease of 11.1%. Those queries include classification investigation results, and also when we disagree with the results, we request the couple to review it and to see whether the results should be adjusted. After the query were made, and with more information, and then meeting us to further clarify and the classification, etc. And sometimes that we will change the classification of those allegations. Last year, a total of 225 allegations were have been changed in terms of classification. So the 35 was reclassified to substantiated, the 6 reclassified to not fully substantiated, and then 85 reclassified to non-fault. And 24 were reclassified to false. And how do we define false or no fault? Most of the time, we look at the judgment from the court and then to see whether we should reclassify those allegations. We have observers, and the number of observations made totaled 1,848, and the attendance rate stands at 99.1%. And all of the observers are volunteers, because the complaint system depends a lot on the attendance of volunteers and observers to observe how the couple works, to make sure that the process is fair and just. I would like to take this opportunity to thank 120 observers for the work during past year. The work is not easy. Just imagine sitting there for the 4 to the 5 hours to see how they take those testimony. I think that this is definitely not an easy task. I would like to thank them again. And other than observing and looking at the complaint, and then to do justice to the complainant, we also tried to identify areas where the police could improve their services in order to prevent future complaints. This is the major direction of work. That actually is the SQII. And in the past year, we have made 24 suggestions and then initiatives to improve the services, so that the previous fault or mistakes will not be repeated, and then the number of complaints would be reduced. So I stop here, sharing the major figures. Clement, up to you. Thank you, Secretary General, dear friends from the media. Other than the validation of cases, IPCC also make a series of recommendations on the procedures That is the SQII, Madam Chair mentioned before. I will focus on SQII. In the 2021, we have raised 24 SQII covering the procedures, training, the facilities, and IT. And so I would like to share with you 4 SQII. The first one is to enhance procedures in suspected faulty vehicles. As you all know that we are living in a very crowded city with a lot of vehicles and then people. So for vehicles that has fault, if we allow them to continue running in the streets, it will endanger the pedestrians, and sometimes it will make accidents. And then we found that there are the various kinds of the illegal vehicles that has been tempered. And then according to the traffic department, the number of cars that needed to go under examination amounts to the 1,263. And then recently, we found that there is a vehicle that has seats that is not made in accordance to the regulation. So the police, in accordance to the procedure, and then were summoned the vehicle owner to undergo the examination.
And the vehicle was taken for examination, and the car owner complained against the police for unlawful use of authority. Now, we have invited the police officers to attend the meeting with IPCC, and the police officer explained to us clearly all the procedures involved in handling the vehicle, although he could not produce any photos or any video clips to show that he had the observation of the vehicle in support of his action. But having regard to the fact that the complainant might have fixed the vehicle before examination, it would be hard to verify the case. And the case was classified eventually as unsubstantiated. In this regard, the IPCC made some SQII recommendations. There are 3 salient points here. First, there should be cooperation with the TD, and there should be a recommendation made, and the police should incorporate the information into the training package to enhance the police officers' knowledge. The police, together with the TD, have designed new forms for the car owners to respond to the police regarding the suspicion on the part of the police. And third, there should be smartphones distributed to the frontline officers so for them to take photos of the vehicle as evidence to minimize any disputes afterwards. Other than the above SQIIs, the use of the smartphones as part of the efforts to collect evidence is something that we have been recommending. The police should have the new technology to assist in their work. The second SQII I'd like to share with you is to use the body camera, that the body worn camera can help verify the truth that the complainant refused to wear the face mask and there was an altercation and the police officer turned on the body worn camera to record the whole procedures. And the complainant was prosecuted for not wearing the face mask. The complainant lodged a complaint about NOD, neglect of duty, because he alleged that the police failed to explain the whole thing to him. The complainant didn't offer any cooperation, but Capo has seen the body worn camera footage and it showed clearly the police did explain clearly the reason why he was summoned. And the case was classified as no fault, and the police officer was exonerated. The body worn camera will not only enhance the transparency of the operation, it will also help to mitigate any potential conflicts. Unlike the example that I quoted, the police officer told the complaining at the time that the body worn camera has already been turned on. The complainant immediately calmed down and the situation was under control. So the IPCC and CAPO are able to use the footages to verify the veracity of the case. Like in another case, there was a complainant who said that while he was escorted onto the police van, he was pushed and he hurt his spine. In fact, from the footage, the police officer was escorting him gently onto the police vehicle, and there was no pushing at all. And Capo is of the view that there was nothing improper on the part of the police officer. The police officers have contact with the members of the public in their day-to-day work. They also have to cooperate with government departments. The SQIIs also cover this area. Like the first example relating to vehicle examination, police have to cooperate with the TD. And also, if the public would need to apply for a TAVA, there is a need to cooperate with the TD as well. The third example is the cooperation with the Correctional Services Department. That one of the complainants is a PIC, a person in custody. He sought assistance from the police. Under the procedures, the Correctional Services Department faxed the forms to the police. But the police only confirmed the receipt of one single form, and there was a delay in the investigation, and the complainant lodged a complaint. When dealing with this complaint, Capo examined the CSD record and balanced the probabilities. And they came to the view that all the faxed forms have already been sent to the police station. But somehow, 7 forms have not been passed on to the investigation unit. And eventually, the complaint was substantiated. In order to enhance the quality of service, the IPCC made the SQII recommendations that the police and the CSD should set up an investigation mechanism to enhance coordination to make sure that the documentation transmitted from the CSD should be received properly. Other than making SQII recommendations, the IPCC has been reviewing the mechanism. The fourth SQII is the handling of minor cases, which is streamline the process. Madam Chair alluded to this a moment ago. Of the 1,705 cases endorsed, well over 90% of them are of a minor nature. The IPCC is fully aware that the members of the public would expect a fair and just investigation. They would also expect higher efficiency. So, from the point of view of public interest, the police um, proposed streamlining the handling of minor cases, and we do concur with the recommendations. First, the complainant, when lodging a complaint, should provide accurate, complete personal information and means of contact, like their names, the ID number, their contact address, email address, and phone numbers, and so on. Second, the technology should be deployed to meet with the complainant to enhance the efficiency. Third, through streamlined means, the procedure should be streamlined. And fourth, when dealing with the complaints, the the complaintees senior officers should also be invited to attend the meeting. Also, after receiving complaints, CAPO should conduct preliminary assessment in order to identify some of the cases that are deliberately lodged with a view to taking action within the specified period of time. And during the report period, there are 62 allegations that have been classified as false. Our Secretary General has already highlighted some of these cases, and it is plain that this is a pretty serious situation. So we've seen an increase of 72% on last year, which was 36. For criminal cases, the complainant would lodge complaints, and some of these cases were classified as false. And some complainant would deliberately lodge complaints in order to mislead the police officers. If they are deliberately lodging any false complaints, then the police would, after seeking legal advice, pursue the matter, pursue the liability on the part of the complainant. Here is another example. The, the, the complainant was arrested for theft, and during the detention, the complainant complained to police about assault. CAPO reviewed all the CCTV footages, and it was found that the complainant banged his head against the wall on many occasions and injuring himself. After seeking legal advice, the police added further charges about misreporting a crime, and the complainant admitted 2 cases, and he was sentenced to 3 months and 4 months respectively. CAPO had regard to the court sentencing and classified the case as false. In order to maintain the integrity of the system and guard against any abuse, the IPCC has also made SQII recommendation to pay particular attention to the evidence if there is sufficient evidence to show that the complainant is deliberately lodging a false complaint. Then the IPCC recommends that CAPO take action, seek legal advice, and pursue the liability. Other than the four SQIIs that I referred to, you might wish to refer to the annual report, page 63 to 66 for other SQIIs. Going forward, the IPCC will make further SQII recommendations with a view to helping the police enhance the quality of service and also to instill better confidence on the part of the members of the public. Thank you. Speaker not coming through. Speaker not coming through. Hi, Economic Journal, 3 questions. Like the police said, during the meeting, 578 cases have been endorsed regarding the FOO and how many are substantiated, how many allegations are there, and how many more allegations have been substantiated, and how were the police officers disciplined. Also, the police said that FOO related cases will not be reported, but there are 29 complaint cases that have not been reported to the IPCC. And what nature are these cases? And going forward, will the IPCC be bringing the public up to speed about these cases? Also, about this annual report, 21-22, there were 7 police officers and they were dealt with by criminal proceedings. And it was a case involving the Northern Hospital and the Occupy movement. Can you be more specific about the details, please?
First of all, I would like to give you some figures. The complaints relating to FOO. Among the 995 endorsed, there are 318 allegations, and then 30 are substantiated. 9 the neglect of duty, 6 misconduct, 3 unnecessary use of authority, 7 impolite, 5 abusive offensive language, non-substantiated 1, and then 1 is neglect of duty, SOTR, and 7, and then the neglect of duty 5, misconduct 2, and other than 2, of police officers receive advices, other receive warning, so that until November, there's an increase of 2 cases. So let me give you more details about the case. The first case happened in March 2020, March 20th. It's about the 12 midnight. A journalist, a reporter, close to the report, working near the Yuen Long MTR. At that time, he had some not cooperative actions, so he was being sprayed, pepper sprayed by the police. And in contact with the police, he heard some unknown police among a group of police talk in polite language and in appropriate language. The police cannot be identified because it's in a group. At that time, couple got some video and then review the process. So the two allegation is impolite and then the offensive languages. And although that the police cannot be identified, the couple conclude that one of the police should be the one who talked, and then so the case was substantiated. And therefore, advice was given to the group, and then saying that they should be more professional when they are on duty. And the other is the 10th of November 2019. In the evening, one complainant was arrested for harboring some dangerous objects like gasoline and bottles and then other objects. And he was brought to the Hong Kong police station. And during detention, he requested to see the doctor, but the duty officer did not arrange for that. But it was arranged later to have consultation. We found that, in fact, that the duty officer should arrange that consultation, medical consultation, in the appropriate time, so that officer receive advice as well. And the other case is the Northern District Hospital. There's a senior person who was assaulted by two police officers, and at that room, the process was recorded by a CCTV in the room. And later on, the police was being alleged misconduct and being sentenced in the court. And the other is October 2014, during the Occupy Central movement. There was an evidence showing that the complainant was one of the participants in the Occupy Central movement. And then there were also evidence that 5 police officers assault the complainant, and they were being sentenced. So these are the two cases. After the judicial procedure, and then they were being recorded in the whole mechanism. And the other is about that couple will not report about FOO complaints, but there are still some outstanding, like 25 cases. And then although that the couple will not disclose this complaint and allegations, will couple report the 29 outstanding cases. Most of these 29 cases are still under examination and also trial. And then I think that it's only when the trial complete, and then we can start the investigation. And then the report will be sent to us. And then we will look at it and then endorse it. And until today, they have not started the investigation. So we do not have details about the cases. Of course, we need to talk about each and every of these cases. And in all of our press briefing, we will not talk each of and then every of these cases, we will only actually talk about that when it is concerned to the public. Okay, my question is, there is the private estate in Kai Tak, and there is the sexual intercourse in one of the flats, and then it was reported that some police officer reviewed the video clippings within the police station, and after investigation, the policeman was not being disciplined. And then what do you how do you feel about this case? And then the other situation is Secretary of Security talk about the investigation and also the examination, and they said that they still need to decide how to handle all those cases. So for criminal cases, I think that this is the JOD's decision, whether that it was made after balancing all the factors, and then I think that other considerations. I think is that the GOD's scope of responsibility, and then this is not up to us to do that. And so far as I understand, that these are all done independently, and then and I think that we can give evidence, but I think that the discretion is all rested with the JOD. And then, the case you mentioned is not a complaint, because we are dealing with like a complaint mechanism. So if there's a complaint, we will do it accordingly. I have no further comments on that. IPCC, as long as there is complaint, and then once the couple finish the investigation and send us the report, then we will see whether that we should endorse the report. What I would like to add is that the two cases, the assault cases, and then I believe that couple has a very straight standard on the discipline of the police, whether there is complaint, as long as the police force find that there are problems with their staff, they will conduct the investigation. And until today, I do not see there is any complaint related to the case you just mentioned. I just want to ask about the FOO allegations. Before, the police has arrested over thousands of people, but as until now, there is no case being made. And then we can see that the number this year has increased. And then you also mentioned about the service of police, and then there is improvement, etc. And I just want to understand how you feel about those figures. I think that you still remember last year that I've been asked repeatedly that, and then last year compared to the year before is lower. And then you ask why it is lower. I can just guess because I cannot control how many people complain. And then, of course, that the complaint should be made on facts. And I guess one of the reason is because of the pandemic. And that many activities were in stop, and then there is nothing in the supermarket. Even the post is not working. So I think that's the reason why that it dropped compared to the year before. And then now that we are comparing to last year. And last year that we are in a new normal, we have adjusted more or less to the pandemic. And I really look forward that we do not need to wear the mask any further. And so when we talk about the figures, we are comparing to the year 2021. So we are just resuming like half of the normal figure, and then still, whether there is complaint we cannot control. And then if people find that they want to complain, then we welcome that, as long as they give us the fact, and then we will do it fair and just. I can understand, because of the pandemic, while there is the lower figure in 2021. I think this is just one reason, one possibility. You can see the chart, and that there are the high and lows. And then you can see that the year before last year, the figure is quite special. And then right now we like to resume. But as I mentioned, many of the SQIIs are based on the situation before, and there are improvements. And you can see that during the past decade, and then the traffic complaints are less, and then because we have the cams installed in most vehicles now, therefore SQII should be able to avoid a complaint, and because that improvement has been made.
On the first question, the police arrested a few thousand people. A lot of them have not been prosecuted. Some said that this is really excessive arrest. How do you see that? The police must have the justification for making arrests, and they would conduct investigation, gather evidence, and each case would vary. And it would be for the DOJ to examine the facts of the case, the strength of the evidence before deciding whether to prosecute. So it is on the basis of this principle. As to how long it is going to take, whether it's too long or too short, it would be different from case to case. There are still a bunch of cases, and we don't have to file here with us. These are not complaint files. In theory, they would take our prosecution where they should, and there is nothing surprising about it. And this is how things are proceeding. Now, for the assault case during the Occupy movement, what happened to that? Well, you're referring to a particular case, well, the Occupy case. So your question is, why is it that we didn't deal with the complaints before we deal with the assault? Why is it that it went through the court before investigation was undertaken? Well, you're talking about sub judice. Now, we are practicing the common law with any case if it is in the domain of the court. if it is a sub judice, we are not supposed to comment on the case. If we cross the boundary, then it would constitute contempt of court, because the court is supreme. We have to respect the court to hand down a fair judgment. So this is not something that the IPCC decides. This is something according to the common law. I'm sure that you understand that you can report on the case, but there is a line there that you cannot really do something during sub judice until such time as the court has handed down the judgment. Now, for the assault case during Occupy and also the North District Hospital assault case, how would the IPCC view the integrity of the police? Well, as I said, the police do have very stringent requirement in relation to the integrity of the frontline officers. So if there is any impropriety on the part of the frontline officer, the police would take immediate action. This is not manifested in these two cases. When CAPO deals with other cases, we've also seen this. For these two cases, they are totally unrelated. They are isolated cases. Now, for these cases, they would be a cautionary tale for other officers. I'm sure that the frontline officers, the majority of them, do adhere to very high professional standard. Speaker not coming through.